Good morning, everybody. The sound on the next video or two I make may not be the greatest. I unfortunately may have sent the Bluetooth transmitter from my wireless mics to the washing machine and the dryer. So we'll have to make do with some videos where I'm more up close to the camera here. So I kind of put a little bit of a crimp in two different videos that I was wanting to do this week, but you know, it is what it is. We'll manage until I get a new mic. But today, we're just going to take a real quick look at our knife made from Gerber. This is a Kettle Bell. It's a fairly small knife, but hey, we'll just take a look at it real quick and see what we think about it. All right, guys. I got this at Walmart a couple years back, maybe 3 years ago. It was fairly affordable. I can't remember the price. I'm sure it was in about $20, $30 range. Real quick though, we'll try to get some measurements for this blade. Now this blade from tip to the cutting edge is 2¼ inches in length. Let's get the overall of the knife. That may be something everybody wants to know. We are looking at 6½ inches in overall length. The handle's not too bad. I can actually get my pinky on it. Get my finger up there in that choil. All right. Now real quick, we'll just grab a little hunk of wood here. That one's already pretty well fuzzed up. Let me grab a different one here. Now, a knife like this, it's pretty small, but it's got some practical uses. Now its entire body size isn't small in comparison, so I mean you can put these in some kits. Again, it's a more affordable knife that won't really break the bank, and you can afford to get some extras, and then you can put these in multiple kits, obviously. But it actually came fairly decently sharp, and that's actually a trend I've been noticing as of late. It seems a lot of these budget knives have been coming far sharper than they used to a couple, like a decade or so back and longer. Typically, if you got a affordable knife, they usually came fairly dull, and the heat treat, there wasn't much thought given to that, so their edge retention was pretty crappy. But I noticed here, I don't know, I'm going to say this last probably 10ish or so years, that the knives are coming a lot sharper and holding edges better. So that's decently small, and I like these because they actually dry quicker if your wood's a little damp. So you can shave off a whole big handful of these things. Say put that in your pocket and dry them out further, or if it's not raining out, just lay them out in the sun. It's nice to have that ability right out the gate. All right, guys, real quick, we're going to see how easy this thing will cut some cordage. I think it should do fairly decent, to be honest with y'all. We're going to try to just push it straight through. That wasn't too bad at all. I put very little pressure on that. So let's get her down here to the stump top real quick, and we're going to just cut this cordage right here on the stump. Nice clean cut, and I just really pushed down. I didn't even draw across it, so we'll try the closer to the tip. And we'll try to get clear back here near that choil part. That drug out a little bit, didn't cut quite as well. Rock it a little bit, yeah. All right. pull across near the tip of that thing. That wasn't too bad. Alright, let's take a piece of this here ugly stick we got left. And by the way, if anybody's wondering why I keep calling this an ugly stick, go back to my earlier Outhouse reviews. This was a significantly larger piece of crappy looking gnarled up pine. So we've just done this segment of testing enough where we've whittled this thing down to very little left. But I just been using this piece for just kind of hogging into the wood there, just to get an idea. If I'm just grabbing up a hunk of wood off the floor and I'm happening to just kind of carve into it to make something, a little less finesse, just needing to remove larger pieces of wood. Yeah, that seems to be doing that pretty decent. I'm not having to put a whole lot of power on that. Boy, them birds are going nuts out there. Okay, that did pretty good. So, of course, now at the end of this right here, we're going to do the edge retention there. I'll see if it'll shave hair, but we still got a little bit more to do with it, guys. We got our piece of cardboard here, and it's pretty stiff. Now, I like doing the cardboard test because it really does test retention on the edge. I don't know if it's just because the fibers are so compressed, but cardboard cutting is actually a pretty good way to dull a knife fairly quick. Ooh, that was nice and smooth. Oh, camera will focus. Yeah, that was a pretty clean cut right there. Let's do it again. Try to get a little bit of, there we go. Just little slices off that. That was pretty clean. I like that. That's not bad at all. And I would dare say that a knife this size, that simple task opening packages, if you do have to cut cardboard boxes up, and just some good general use little utility kind of blade, it's got some decent thickness to it. Tapers down. It's got a slight hollow grind feel to it. But that tends to lead to a fairly slicey knife when it's ground that way. But at least they gave you a little bit of material back here to help support the blade. But then again, I wouldn't recommend prying with this knife at all, guys. Don't recommend it. However, I gotta say, for how much it costs, the size and the weight, it's a pretty good little knife. Okay, guys, now this is just a small piece of red oak here. I'm going to gently, I'm not going to go crazy on this with this thing, but we're going to just kind of cut in there a little bit. So I want to test edge retention. Actually, I got a more appropriate piece of oak. Here we go. That'll be a little more easier to work with. This is just from another video. We turned it into a tent spike or something or other. But I'm not trying to use a knife here. I'm just going to do this for simple edge retention. So I just simply want to see how well it holds up. And red oak is an extremely hard wood, so it'll put more of a test to it than working with a pine. Not sure how many wax in there that was. However, I do believe that's good enough to test, see if we can shave some hair. Let me get this adjusted so you can see. We're starting to get more bald spots. Every time I get heavy in the outhouse reviews and whatnot, I start running out of hair. Yeah. Get multiple parts of that blade in here. Focus. There we go. All right, guys. Real quick, we'll just reset here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on this little guy. Guys, well, I mean, from what we've seen for the testing so far, I got to say that the knife has performed pretty good. I'm talking a little louder because of the lack of mic there, so I'm trying to make sure my voice comes out good on the good as it can on the audio. But yeah, that's not too bad. Like I said, doing the test with normal materials is one thing, but when we start trying to work on, like, this is very dry red oak here, and it is quite rough on cutting edges. It will, if it's a cheap knife and it doesn't have a decent temper to the steel and the hardness, isn't at least somewhere around the very high 50s to the getting into 60. Working too much with like a red oak, white oak, any kind of hardwood, basically, even maple, which is more of a medium hardwood, it'll actually dull the knife quite rapidly. So now again, this is the kettlebell from Gerber, and it has a frame lock instead of a liner lock, and it does engage fairly well. The pocket clip on it is really stiff. Like, I don't even think I about hurting my, I don't know if I could pull that thing up there to lift it. Feels like I just want to rip my fingernail off. So that's a good thing. The retention on that clip is awesome. So if you're some of the people who are so inclined that you slide that down into your pocket. Now it's unfortunately, no, you cannot change the clip, so this thing's going to be tip up carry only, but is what it is. You do got 2 thumb studs, so you can open it left-handed, right-handed anyway. It's a little stiff to deploy. Now, mind you, I haven't done a whole lot with this. I carried it at work for just a little while, every once a little whip stitch, whittling on some wood here and there. It did fine. It's held its edge whittling wood. I think I used it when making lunch a couple times. I've cut a few things to make sandwiches, and I think 1 or 2 times I've actually used it to spread, like Miracle Whip. Use baby wipe, clean it back off. Its size is kind of handy because I know a lot of places you're limited to the length of your blade. So if that's an issue and you're looking for an affordable knife, and I want to tell you, like, a lot of times it's like the style of the knife, if you like the looks of it. However, like I said, it is functional. Got a little bit of dust around there where it's sat in my giant box of knives. But there we go. Get that real good in the frame for y'all. It's a really nice knife. I don't think I regret the purchase. It's like I said, it's small enough, depending on where I'm at. If there's a blade length restriction, that's great, because this thing is definitely under 3 inches. It's 2.5 inches. So, but all right, guys, hope that was informative. If you was interested in that knife, I said I had a little bit of use with it before we did the outhouse test here, but like I said, it's held up pretty good. Like I said, surprisingly, the edges are holding up pretty good on these more affordable knives. I don't know if the industry has just gotten to the point where it's older technology Now it works. I remember when D2 steel first came out, it was a little bit on the pricier side. Now you can get really cheap knives or using D2 steel, and they got all this information from how to properly produce it, how to heat treat it, all that stuff. So it could be somewhere along the lines now. It's just that those places are finally catching up with the times, and they're getting far better handle on the materials that they're using and how to properly treat them before they make the knives and send them out. Anyway, guys, thank you for your time. Greatly appreciate y'all. And with that, I'll see y'all in another video.